Hi, this is Elena with Black Sheep 303 Creative, and my project today is, kind of a classic Christmas card featuring the poinsettia new stamps from Elizabeth Craft Designs that you see there on the left. And I absolutely love this set. I think it's amazing, and I'm going to be stamping every stamp in it except for the tiny little flower stamp. So sorry about the camera shake. I did hit the camera. But I'm stamping this onto 85-pound white soft finish cardstock. I'm using Gina K Designs black amalgam ink. I knew I was going to be coloring these with my Spectrum Noir markers, alcohol markers, and this ink is compatible with that, as well as working with watercolors and watercolor markers. So I love this ink. All right, so to start off with, I have my CR10 Spectrum Noir, and I'm going to just color the top layer of petals, just basically using this color. So fairly straightforward. And then when I go to the second layer of petals, I'm going to grab my DR3, which is a slightly darker, more true red. And you can see I'm going in between that first layer of petals and then kind of coloring in, I don't know, like a bit of a arrow shape sort of into the middle of the second layer of petals. And then I'm going to grab my CR10 and blend that into the DR3 right around the outer edge. And that gets a little bit too orangey red for me, so I go back with the DR3, add a little bit more in, and then blend it again with the CR10 to get more of a, I don't know, true red kind of color as opposed to a very orangey red color. And you can see I'm adding a little bit of DR3 to the centers of those top petals and then blending again with the CR10. And so I'm going to go all the way around that second layer and complete that as shown. And now I've got my DR7, which is very dark, and I'm going into just the part of the last layer of petals that is overhung by the ones above it, and then I'm blending that out with the DR3 and then a little bit with the CR10 as well. And I'm going to actually add some more of that very dark shading between the top layer and the second layer of leaves. And I know this looks kind of scary because this DR7 is really, really dark, and I know a lot of times people are scared to go that dark, but when you start blending it with the DR3, it lightens up quite a bit. And I really think that it's that dark shading that adds a lot of the dimension to this flower, that as you see there. Now with my leaves, I had base coated them with DG2 Illustrator marker, and now I'm shading with DG3 Illustrator marker. You can see again it's pretty dark, but once I start blending with the DG2, sorry, it lightens up a bit, and really again that dark shading is what really gives it dimension. So I'm a fan of that. Now for my berry branches, I stamped 3 of them, and I'm coloring the stem with TN8, and then I'm going to use the same reds for the berries. So I'm using the CR10 to add like a highlight onto each of the berries, and then I'm going to take my DR3 and color in the rest of the berry with that. And then I'll go back to my CR10 and blend it out just a little bit to give those berries a tiny bit of dimension with a little bit of a highlight. Nothing too fancy happening there. And then on these pine branches, I stamped 4 of them, and I'm going to take my JG6 marker, which is a dark pine green, and I'm basically kind of flicking it, following the shape of the pine needles. So it's not a perfect copy over the shape, but it's close, and with that flicking motion it helps keep it kind of natural and organic looking. So I liked that. And now for this big holly branch, ignore the cap. I had the wrong cap on the wrong marker. So this is actually the DG2 Illustrator marker, and I'm going to base coat all the leaves in that, and then I'm going to go in with the DG3, which was the cap you saw there, and kind of go around the outside of the holly leaves, and then I will blend that again with the DG2 to give it that sort of, darker edge that holly leaves kind of have. And I'm going to leave the berries on that not colored, and I've realized I didn't do my branch on the pine needle, so I went to EB6 or EB7 for that. And then I'm doing a blend of TN2. I'm touching the TN2 marker to the TN8 marker to color the branch in on the holly branch, to get sort of a medium brown. And that's the completed coloring that you see there. Now I've die cut everything out with the matching dies. And I'm taking my Tonic Nuvo Bright Gold Crystal Drops and I'm dotting around in the center of the poinsettia. However, I am leaving a space between each dot and I'm going to let that dry. It's very important to do that, and then I will do a second round of dots. If you let it dry in between, the dots will stay individual dots. If you do it all at once and touch them together, they do merge together and become like a big blob. So you don't want to do that if you want to have that sort of dotted, pollinated look for your poinsettia middle. And then I added Tonic Nuvo Honey Gold Glitter Drops to the berries on the holly branch. I've stamped Merry Christmas from the Classic Christmas Sentiment stamp set onto that little banner piece that I die cut a fishtail into. I have a piece of Gina K metallic gold cardstock that I've die cut out using the second largest die in the Modiscrap Dashing Rectangles die set. I've got an A2 size top folding card base out of 100-pound white soft finish cardstock, and then I have this strip of metallic red that's cut to about 1/2 inch by 6 inches. Now you notice I've chopped apart my holly branch and I have cut one of the berry branches apart. So I have like one individual berry and then I have the rest of the branch. There was a little bit of surgery involved in that, but nothing too tough. Now I've got 6mm double-sided adhesive tape on the back of my gold panel and I'm just adhering that into the middle of the white card base. The metallic red is going about 5/8 inch up from the bottom, just in a straight line all the way across the card front. And I'll just trim off the excess. And now I'm going to sort of decide how I'm going to position my little greeting and my poinsettia on the bottom of the card. It's a little tricky to get it all together. Now I noticed I have some bleed over with my markers, so I'm just covering that up with my white glaze pen. Love doing that, super easy. And now I'm going to add some 6mm double-sided adhesive tape in the center of, just the center of my poinsettia. Now this is important. And then you can see that second layer of crystal drops that I added to finish off the middle of the flower. Now I've got 6mm adhesive also on the little banner grating, so I'm going to just adhere both of these down as you see here. So my greeting's off to the right and my flower is obviously off to the left. Now, part of the reason that you want to have adhesive only in the center of that flower is so that you can do this. So I'm sticking the rest of the stamped and die cut images around the poinsettia underneath it. And because it only has adhesive in the middle, it's very easy to do that. And another benefit is that it does create some subtle dimension. It allows the sort of outer edges of the flower to lift off the card base a little bit, and it creates a little bit of dimension that I find very appealing. Now I've added 3mm adhesive to the back of all of my additional elements, and you'll notice that I'm just kind of tucking them in around under the flower to kind of vary it up. You know, have some stick out more than others, change the shapes and the colors around, and vary them all the way around the sort of circular floral arrangement to keep it visually interesting. And you can see I'm adding 3mm adhesive was what I used on all of the sort of additional smaller elements. And there's where I'm going to add my single berry up there on the upper left, you'll see, with that chopped up branch. And then you can see how I'm using all the different smaller pieces from that holly branch to add dimension around the entire arrangement, which I thought was very important. And for a finishing touch, I've grabbed the 2 smallest sizes of my red and gold glitter dots, and I'm just dotting them here and there to finish it off. It just felt like it needed something, and that really worked for me as the last sort of finishing touch on this card. And it's like a very glittery golden red. And so I have a bunch of different sort of metallics and textures going on, which helps add visual interest to the card. And that's the completed project. And I was really happy with how it turned out. I have a weird thing for poinsettias at Christmas. I think it's because my parents always had them around when I was a kid. So I have a large stash of poinsettia stamps that I use regularly on Christmas cards because I just love them. And so hopefully you do too. And there's a good look at the coloring. I hope I've inspired you to check out this poinsettia stamp set. It's brand new from Elizabeth Craft Designs, and it's super, super pretty and very versatile. So go out and make a classic Christmas card using a poinsettia. Thanks so much for watching. As always, supplies are linked in the video description and over on my blog. If you liked the video, I'd love it if you give me a thumbs up and leave me a comment. I really like getting comments. Here are 2 more videos I've done in the past for Christmas using Elizabeth Craft Designs products. And if you have not subscribed to my channel yet, I would absolutely love it if you would do that as well. Thanks so much. Have a great day.